Hello all, sorry for the chewing, just eating some of my Christmas chockies, Drosties, love them. Did I mention I've got a sweet tooth? Anyway, I'm going to be doing a magazine review of Grow Your Own magazine. This is a January edition. But before we get started, I just want to say a big thanks to you all who have been following me this past 12 months or even longer. Thanks to all the new subscribers. I seem to be getting a couple most days at the moment. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already gathered, my channel's set up mainly for gardening allotments, but also for my other interests. So you'll see me cooking some roast, because I do love my roast dinner. You'll see me painting sometimes, you know. I'm taking a break this Christmas, but I'll be starting again when the art group starts, and so I'll be doing paintings like this one. I've got quite a few. I've got them on it in an eBay shop. I'm trying to sell some to raise some money so I can get more stuff for my gardening. It's all costly, isn't it? And it doesn't take long for it to mount up to a few hundred in your Amazon shopping basket or your eBay. Well, it doesn't with me anyway. So many things that I'd like to try, and unless you buy them, you're never going to get to find out how good they are or how well they work. I'm not lucky enough to have one of these horticultural companies or whatever sponsoring me, although it'd be nice to try out different things. I could be quite happy reviewing different gardening produce or magazines to do with gardening and what have you, but who knows, maybe one day. I'm not exactly photogenic in front of the camera, so I can understand why not, but we can but dream. So let's get on to this Grow Your Own magazine. So what have we got here? Well, it's the headlines is saying how to prepare your plot, and then it's saying why you should sow seeds now, protect your plants for better results, and techniques to improve your soil. And the other headline is grow your best ever apples. We've got some aubergine seeds, something what we don't eat, so they'll be given away. And I'm wondering, I don't know whether to save some of these packets of seeds what we don't want, and maybe do a competition. These competitions seem to be quite popular, don't they? But we'll see. Right, let's move on, have a look at peep inside. All these magazines, I've not actually looked at them before I talk to you folks. I've not even turned the pages, so it's all a surprise to me what we see. Right, well, the editor's letter is New Year, New Look. And it shows the editor here, which I assume she's wearing her summer clothes, because she'd be, even with these mild weather, it'd be too damn cold. Anyway, it says, hooray, it's the start of the new year. With it comes a new growing season and a fresh look for Grow Your Own magazine. We hope you like the changes we've made to this issue and find it packed full of useful advice. Alright, so I wonder what they've changed. The new fruit gardener, what they've got is Chris Beardshaw. Shan't go on to any more details because it's going to spoil it for you, isn't it? Because you might want to buy this magazine to read. Alright, so we're on to page 6, and allotment health. And it says, according to the results from a study conducted by Essex and Westminster universities, spending just half an hour on your plot has real benefits for both mental and physical health. The research highlights that growers are often found to suffer less from fatigue, anger and tension issues. Yeah, I must admit, when I've spent my, you know, when the weather permitting and that and circumstances allow at home, I spend a couple of hours in the afternoon, which is usually during the summer, well, from the spring onwards, I certainly feel like a better person. Whether that's to do with the allotment or whether it's to do with the weather, that's debatable. It could be a bit of both. But yeah, I'm definitely on a dull day. It really affects me. I need sunshine, and I need to just have some time out, away from the house, and get to socialise. It makes all the difference. So what else does it say? The research highlighted that growers are often found to suffer less. Yeah, I've read that. And it says it's also is giving people a higher self-esteem. Not sure about that. Well, yeah, I suppose it has helped me. I mean, I'm a shy person, you know, I don't like to be in front of the camera, folks. Yeah. I put it down to the social side of the allotments, but I suppose it could be the growing and that. But when you actually find yourself engrossed in something and you actually know that what you're doing, then you feel confident, and that does make you feel better and more outgoing and more worthy of being around other people. As I say, I'm just having a flick through, see if I can find some interesting article. Here we are. January is great for, and it says sowing broad beans, folks. That's something I've got to get. I've got to get myself some broad beans, and this year I've got to actually try and look after them. Two things hit me past year. One, I had some in the netted enclosure, and of course broad beans need to be pollinated. They're not like French beans which are self-pollinating. Broad beans do need insects and that, so don't make the same mistake I did and end up with not a single bean. The other thing was I suffered from black fly and I ended up with no beans. I just didn't do anything with them. You know, there was other things that were happening, and that just got put on the sideline, and I just ignored them. So anyway, this year we need to get some broad beans in the freezer. Right, so what we got? Says also, save for the season ahead. It says, with the prime part of the sowing season almost upon us, remember to save toilet paper rolls, egg boxes and the like, which serve as DIY pots for your seedlings. They can also be added to your compost heap after use. You know, when I think of toilet rolls and that, I'm thinking of when you grow sweet peas, they always say you need to grow them in a good depth of soil. Well, I can tell you folks that my dad, this autumn, very late, we're talking about October time, might have even been November, he actually grew some sweet peas in those mini plugs. No joking, the mini plugs are that height, and he had them growing. They're actually still outside because he transplanted a load, and they're now about this high in the shed. But he left some still in those, and they're still outside, and they're fine. And they've been through all the rain, they've been through, we've had 2 or 3 nights of frost, you know, not affecting them in the slightest, and they're still in there. And that was just with that much soil. So it can be done, folks. Just try, just don't follow the rules. You know, you experiment. I let him get on with it. I have got plenty of seeds what have came with magazines in packets. I've also got the seeds what I've saved from this year, which are at the allotment, and I've still got seeds from the previous years. So we can afford to, you know, try things out, play around. Dad wanted to do it, and he's done it, and he's, you know, I thought no, you can't do that, Dad. You know, because they always say, you know, you've got to have a decent, you know, ideally a pot and then a toilet roll, you know, but no, you don't have to, folks. Nope, gardening is something which rules can be broken quite often. I mean, it might not work on every occasion, but sometimes it does. Diary notes, folks. You know, talking of diary notes, I have got up here, it was from the Amateur Gardening, it's got what's on in 2016. You know, there's so many things on there I'd love to go, events I'd love to go to. But I just, it's down to money, folks. I just can't afford it. I've got it up here, the ones what I've picked out would be the Edible Garden Show, the Harrogate Spring Flower Show, the RHS Malvern Spring Festival, the RHS Flower Show, Tatton Park, and the RHS Malvern Autumn Show in September. They're just a few of the ones what if I had the money, I would love to go to, and I'd love to video them. But I just, you know, you've got your entrance fees, which are like kind of averaging out, I suppose, at about £18 by the looks of it. No, £15, say, on average. You know, some of them are more. I mean, like the Malvern Show, it says tickets between £15 and £35. Just can't afford it. Just can't. But that would be my dream, to be able to go. I mean, there's a whole list here of things, you know, it'd be great, but no, can't do it. You know, you've got to have your ticket there, and then you've got to get your train and that, whatever, transport to get there. It's just so costly. I don't see how families and that can do it these days. And not unless they're on, you know, like I suppose a lot are earning good money. You know, when you... I won't go on. Right. Top event this month, folks. Practical pruning. And so, talking about pruning, have you seen the video yet? What I've put up, apple pruning. I've had a lot of nice remarks on it. I say a lot. I mean, talking about comments now, I know everyone's so busy. I mean, I'm guilty now and again of it myself. I might watch a video, not comment, but it's not very often. But I guess everyone's, you know, I don't live exactly a busy life compared to most. So I suppose it's too much for most people to comment. But I'm getting enough comments to know that people enjoy my videos. What we got, folks? I'm just having, while I'm having a search, folks, I just wanted to say how sorry I am for all those folks up in Yorkshire and Lancashire and up in Cumbria and all that northern area who are suffering so much with the floods. And I would also like to say a sincere sorry to those at is it Huddersfield, where the whole allotment has been lost. So sad. So anyway, we've got an article here on protecting crops from the cold. And this particular person here, Dominica McKevitt, is a head gardener at this Ardgillan Castle and Gardens. She's got some advice. Let's have a look, see what I can see. She says, when the winter weather arrives, growth of some fruit and veg will slow down or even stop. Plants like courgettes, marrows and pumpkins grow very successfully outdoors all summer, but cease producing new fruits when daytime temperatures fall below 15°C. More tender... Well, we know all about that. Right. Apparently, greenhouses or polytunnels that are tall have better air circulation and less condensation, which helps reduce the risk of bronchitis, a problem in cold, damp weather. However, taller structures can be more difficult to heat. Covering plants with fleece can give some protection, but the safest thing to do is pick any remaining fruits before the first frost. I wonder why they're mentioning that now, folks. Because really, we're into winter, and in normal circumstances we would have had frost by now. Not quite sure, but anyway. This month's crops to sow and harvest, folks. Okay, here we are then. Chili peppers, microgreens, exhibition onions. You know what, folks? Been thinking about not necessarily on an exhibition side. I mean, I was thinking about that, but I just haven't got the space now, so I don't think I could do anything like that. But I was asked to take part in a little competition to grow potatoes in pots, which I've accepted, and I've found out a source where I can buy some from, and that's made me think that maybe I could dot a few around the plot and grow other things in as well, because you know I'm lacking of space. But then I was thinking, I wonder if there's any other things that we could all do as a community, you know, take part in, you know, like growing the potatoes, see how many we can get out of a pot. You know, is there other things? You know, have you got any suggestions? Perhaps we could, I don't know, maybe we could form a little group on Facebook or Google Plus, and then people could take part, and obviously we share our results on YouTube. Let me know your thoughts on that. Sprouting seeds. Use jam jars with holes pierced in the lid to sprout seeds such as munch peas, pea shoots. You know, I've never heard of half these things. Alfalfa or fenugreek. Never heard of them, folks. Sorry. Plant cane fruits, fruit bushes and trees, such as raspberries and bare root fruit bushes and trees can be planted any time from November to March. Okay, while we're on the subject of those folks, strawberries. Now is the time to buy some bare-rooted strawberry plants and get them put in. So you've got two choices. You can either get them and put them into pots or buckets, or you could grow them directly in your plot or in your tunnel. But my advice is, if you're going to get some now, and now's the time really to get them put in. They'll come packaged. There'll be no soil. Well, a little bit of loose soil will come on the roots, but basically there's no soil. And what I found with the strawberries, if you stretch those roots out so they're in all directions. So if you've cleared your little area where you're going to put your plant, and then you spread those roots out, so they're coming out like this and like this, and then put that down and then bury them up to the crown with soil, and obviously a good watering. That's going to help a lot, and it will give you nice strong rooted plants, and they can be done now. In fact, I've been looking to get some different varieties maybe for myself. I've got those empty beds in polytunnel. I might put them in there so I can get some nice early strawberries again, because I missed out last year because the tunnel got destroyed, the old one, and I didn't have the air soak. Had too much air going around in the tunnel during the winter, and everything dried out, and I never watered. So just remember folks, if you've got a tunnel or greenhouse, make sure you are watering certain plants during the winter, because I found my strawberries just disintegrated. It was no good at all. That they do need some water. Strawberries, by the way, do like the cold. They do like to get some frost on them as well. But obviously when it comes to, you've got flowers, if you get a frost and you got flowers on, and then you come the next day and you see you got a black dot in the middle, basically where the flower was, you've lost it. Even if it did grow, it's going to be a stunted strawberry. It's best to nick those off and let the ones which haven't been affected by frost to continue to thrive. In fact, I think if you've got flowers on your strawberries outside, it's probably best to actually put some fleece over on a frosty night, or frosty day if the flowers came early, because otherwise you're going to lose them. So that's my tip. Right, so well, I'm not going to go into harvesting, but there's a load of stuff here what you can harvest. Gosh, a thick magazine this one, folks. I'm going to have to speed up a bit, aren't I? Sometimes I babble on. Sorry about that. There's jobs on the plot. The container garden. Get ready for the sowing season and ensure that all the pots and containers have been meticulously cleaned. Also stock up on any seed compost, potting compost or growing bags you need. Store them somewhere warm, ready for next month. Back to the subject of strawberries, folks. If you buy these growing bags, you tend to associate with tomatoes, you can actually use those for strawberries, and if you put your plants in those, you probably get 2 or 3 in one of those bags. That will actually, you'll be able to keep those in for maybe 2 or 3 seasons, and then all you got to do then is take that bag of soil and either empty it on your plot somewhere, mix it in with the soil, or dispose of it somewhere else, and then just replace it with a fresh one. This is something I've been meaning to try with some strawberries, to see how it goes, and I'm glad it's reminding me, because maybe that's what I might do. Might buy a few bags of those, soil and potting grow bags. Sorry, yeah. Right, so what else we got? The fruit garden says as long as your ground isn't frozen, you can plant bare-rooted fruit trees now. Apples, pears, quinces, autumn raspberries, currants and gooseberries can all be pruned during the winter months. I haven't actually got any autumn raspberries, but it's something else I'm looking at. It's just space, folks. Can somebody send me what would it be, a magic wand, and I just want a piece of land. I want enough money to be able to buy all the supplies and everything, and then I'll be quite happy. Winter sewing jobs with Anne Swithinbank. Now, bear in mind this is a January magazine. She's saying start tomatoes, kale and cauliflowers and plant other veg crops. You know, folks, I've never really had much luck with growing tomatoes this early. So let's see what she's saying. It says once Christmas is done and dusted and the New Year season is in, some folks rush out to the sales and then start wishing for spring, which still seems a long way off. For gardeners, the remaining cold months give us a much needed chance to plan, prepare and regroup, ready for the growing season, next growing season. Right, growing your own tomatoes means better flavour, massive choice of varieties and probably ripe fruit from summer to autumn. Didn't work out for me this year. I lost all mine from blight. That was at home, on the plot and in the tunnel. 43 plants lost. She says she usually grows around red fruited type. Gardeners delight in is tasty, plus a favourite sweet orange cherry sun gold, and then a couple of unusual or heirloom varieties. You don't have to start this early, but I like to stagger my sowings and also find the larger fruited kinds benefit from a long growing season. In my garden, plants grown outdoors are either clobbered by blight or fail to ripen madly, so I keep ours under glass in bottomless pots standing on beds of growing bags or in ordinary large pots. To save on greenhouse space, cordon grown varieties trained vertically up stakes or strings are ideal. Right, so what she's basically saying, if it's a big variety of tomato, then it's best to start early. I wouldn't entertain putting mine in a tunnel, and I assume a greenhouse is going to be similar. I mean, I can't comment on that because I haven't got a greenhouse, but unless it's heated, I wouldn't. I mean, let's put it this way, when it came to outside, my father never used to sow the seeds until the end of May. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I think maybe I might give it a try, you know, again. But I do know that you've got to be very careful with tomatoes in an unheated space this early in the year. I don't think I wouldn't normally try and do it even in a polytunnel before March. In fact, you know that little polytunnel I had at the allotment which I gave to Morris, he actually, this last year, he actually ignored my advice and he had some really nice plants what he'd bought, and then he grew them on in his tunnel, and they were about 2.5 feet high, and they all died from the frost. So no, not unless you've got some good way of insulating them. Well, at least that's my opinion. I mean, there might be some parts of the country which are better, or you might have a more sheltered plot, but mine's pretty sheltered. I don't think I'm going to get through this all in one session, folks. I think we're just going to have to give some of this a miss. But I'm just going to flick through and tell you some of the articles. It says reflect on last season's harvest, and then there's an article about, well, it shows you a bag of potatoes and that. So, and then there's an article here on 5 herbs to grow this year. And they're saying buckler leaf sorrel, lemon balm, ginger mint, lemon verbena, Mexican tarragon. And then there's quite an interesting page here which will interest me on grow like a pro, broad beans. Tells you how to do continued care and how to harvest and getting started. In fact, I'm not going to read it out to you. I'm going to save the page though, because that article is quite interesting to me. Affordable ways to boost your plot. Save money and select recommended crops from fellow growers with these handy tips. What's it basically saying is ask questions to your fellow allotmenteers and you know, swap seeds with them, but there's a lot more to it. There's a couple of pages on getting your plot ready for the season ahead. Digging ground, tools, trays and fleece, choose your seeds, prune trees and bushes. And then next to it there's some great tools to help, you know. Obviously somebody's different companies are paying for the advertising there, I suppose. The organic gardening catalogue, the Vigo presses tripod ladder, and then slug bell. Top growing tips for your free seeds, and that's all to do with those aubergines. There's another couple of pages on it there, and then we've got things about heritage varieties, and there's a couple of pages there, folks. It's all about tomatoes and open pollinated crops. And I've got a few pages here on buying seeds for the year ahead, useful information to help you choose the best varieties for your plot. And it goes on to tell you about the differences varieties make. Let's have a quick read of this. You may have a clear vision about what edibles you'd like to grow this year, but it's a good idea to consider what suits you best. For example, if you're short on space and want to grow in containers, dwarf varieties will be ideal. If previous efforts have fallen victim to fungal diseases, look out for packets that outline a resistance to their problems. That's good. Good idea. I must admit I do that with the strawberries. I try and keep I've been moving away because I did actually have 33 varieties of strawberries at one point. but I've gone down to just a few now. There's probably a dozen different ones, but I have discovered that there is certain ones which have a resistance, and therefore they're more suitable for in the tunnel, polytunnel, without succumbing to disease. It says F1 hybrids are the result of cross-pollinating different varieties of the same veg in order to create a plant that possesses the good qualities of each parent. For example, high yielding and early crop production. However, if you want to keep things traditional on the plot, try heritage varieties which have been relied upon for generations. So anyway, there's quite a lot more information. There's a lot of good stuff in here, folks, but I don't want to read it all out because I don't think the magazine will be too happy, because they want you to obviously buy it. Turn up the heat, and it looks as though they're either, what were these? They've got pictures of what look like courgette or cucumbers. I can't tell at the moment. And it's all about early seed sowing and different propagators, etc. Plot essentials. There's an article here about eat your violas. You may wonder what on earth bedding plants are doing in Grow Your Own mag, but stalwart pansies and winter flowering violas have earned their place on the veg plot as well as the patio, as they're among the best edible blossoms you can grow. I've noticed this year, folks, that there's a few more people growing flowers on the plots. It's great news, that is, because I love to see the flowers. I know there's one or two people who frown upon flowers on the allotment, and they say it goes against what allotments are for. But I think allotments these days have multiple uses, whether it's for growing veg, fruit, flowers, whether it's an escape, whether it for exercise. There's all different benefits of having a plot. And I think that all those benefits should be encouraged. Oh, we've actually got somebody in this magazine this year who's actually on our allotments. She's got a plot. I won't say her name, but she's down here as the expert. There's a load of questions and answers with some quite interesting articles. Article on pest focus, and it's talking about mice. Something about smart gardening. When I saw that word smart, I was immediately thinking about smartphones and that, but I think I'm a bit off the mark here. Yeah, crops to grow in pots. Veg that will thrive in pots. And apparently we've got salad leaves, tomatoes, carrots, courgettes, beetroot, chilies, potatoes, And then this is the bit, because I could see a few strawberries here and I was just wondering, it says, can you grow fruit in containers? The simple answer is yes. As well as strawberries, which look great in hanging baskets or towers, blueberries and raspberries, you can also keep dwarf fruit trees in pots. The overall height of these trees is restricted via the use of grafted rootstock. Rootstocks are the foundation of a tree and control the vigour of its growth and ultimate height and spread. And these are grafted onto the light's not very good, the scion, which relates to the variety of the tree. Talk to your fruit tree expert about how best to look after and manage these needs. Well, we've got Nigel, folks. Remember that sometimes some varieties aren't self-pollinating, so you will need to ensure you have enough room for two in these instances. Or I suppose that a neighbouring plot's got one what you need. So there's a huge variety of fruit that can be grown in this way, from apples, cherries, apricots and plums to pears, peaches, nectarines and more. Crops that you shouldn't grow in pots: Brussels, purple sprouting broccoli and other tall growing vegetables won't grow as strongly in containers as they do in the ground. Doesn't mean they won't grow, it just they're not going to be as good. You've got to remember to choose big enough pots. As a general rule of thumb, 20 to 30 centimetre, that's 8 to 12 inches, are generally okay for most vegetables, but some do require bigger spaces. All interesting stuff, isn't it, folks? Lots of stuff. Lots of adverts. And if you subscribe to this magazine, you can get 5 raspberry canes free plus a £5 gift voucher from Sutton's. There's a couple of pages on transform your plot with shop bought veg. You've got to be sometimes careful with certain veg, folks, when you collect the seed yourself. I'm not sure, I'm not going to go into all this pages here of stuff, but I did hear about some people who are suffering from courgettes, from they'd kept the seeds and they'd grown the plants and it can become poisonous. There was quite a lot of talk about that in the papers and what have you this year. So that is one thing I don't think I would personally keep the seeds to grow because of that fear. There's some sort of transformation what takes place. I can't remember the technicalities of it. A couple of pages on here about tomatoes and quinces. And we've got winter harvests, a couple of pages on undercover, plant and cherry life, a living pharmacy, so about plants and that what grow, you know, around you and that what can be used as for medicinal purposes. Grow Like a Pro apples. There's one page, and the next page it's like a big advert about cordon fruit trees, vertical ones, and there's some giant raspberries. Planting damsons, winter lettuce, a few pages on seasonal eating. And if you like your livestock, there's a couple of pages on here on keeping goats. Tells you all about housing, feeding, legal guidelines. I know, if I remember right, with goats, don't you have to get in touch with DEFRA before you have to have like a licence? Oh, I think it only applies if you've got so many. Allotment inspiration, and it's all about there's all sorts of little articles here. It looks plot sizes, about RSPB calls for bird friendly gardeners, jobs to be done in January. So what we got here, plan what you're going to grow this year by noting it down in a journal. Ask your allotment neighbours what varieties worked well for them last season if you're struggling for inspiration. If you don't already have them, consider installing water butts on your community site to build up a decent supply before summer. There's a bit about helping garden birds through winter. And then it's adverts. It's all adverts, and then there's just a bit about behind the scenes with Francis Tophill. And that's it, folks. I'm sorry about it being a bit longer than I expected. I've actually got a dry throat from all that talking. I'm not used to it. Anyway, until next time, I'll leave it with you. Thanks for watching.